Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you to all of you who have made it this far in the series, being super diligent and watching all these episodes. We are now at the final part in this series of this model, Level Turquoise. We have now swung back to Collective, and this is where the pendulum ends. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where Tier 2 really fires on all cylinders. Now, just like with Yellow, Turquoise is very rare. Most people would be lucky if they ever met a Turquoise person at any given moment in their life. It could possibly be another 500 to 2000 years until the whole world has its big global societal shift into Turquoise. So Turquoise emerges when Yellow realizes the limits of trying to model reality through any kind of conceptual framework of any kind. It has the epiphany that one cannot arrive at the ultimate truth through any philosophical construct that the human mind comes up with. So it learns that the way that you arrive at truth is to pursue spiritual practice and deconstruct all models and concepts, especially deconstruct the materialist paradigm as a whole. Turquoise is now ready to explore what lies beyond the domain of thinking and rationalizing, and can now be fully engaged in the present moment and reach altered states of consciousness. I can just see it now. In 1,000 years' time, mankind has fully achieved and figured out all the solutions to all the systemic problems in the world. Green and Yellow have now done their part. We have cleaned up the environment, we have worked out how to manage the world's resources properly to support billions of more people, solved income inequality, risen beyond the desire to control, manipulate and dominate other people and other animals. We have realized that acquiring money and material goods do not satisfy us in the long term. All racism, war and conflict is dealt with, as the world in this point in time is under a global government and all people of all ethnicities have crossbred with one another. So the concept of race isn't even relevant anymore. People are no longer trapped working in meaningless jobs that they hate, so people can now pursue their passion. And all forms of corruption has been fully weeded out of government, business and all of society at large. All the survival and the creative needs of a human being are fully satisfied and met, and the only thing left to do for the human race is to pursue infinite consciousness and merge with the universe. Turquoise's only mission in life is to create an environment that promotes high conscious values and spreads spiritual wisdom. The deepest wisdom that is possible to access with human beings. It wants nothing more than that. It values manifesting the self for the benefit of existential reality. This is where the magnificence of being in existence really starts to flower. This is moving into self-transcendence and selfless living. Everything up till Turquoise was kindergarten. From beige all the way up to the very beginning of Turquoise was just 1% of all of human growth that you have achieved. Now once you reach Turquoise, this is where the real work begins. At this level there is no more materialistic paradigm, so physical reality starts to completely dissolve into mystical phenomenon. There is no more trying to quantify and categorize things to prove their physical existence. The universe is no longer seen as a dumb clockwork machine. The universe is alive and intelligent. It values experiencing the whole magnitude of reality through mind, body and spirit. The world is seen as a single dynamic organism with its own collective mind. Everything connects to everything else, boundaries break down, and there are a lot of ecological alignments for Turquoise. It wants to blend together all opposite ends of the coin, masculine and feminine, east and west, science and religion, mind, body, spirit and heart. All of it coming together to function in a harmonious way for the benefit of mankind, consciousness and existential existence. It's not about me becoming successful or rich. It's not about fighting for some environmental cause. It's not about upholding tradition. It's not about me demanding any respect or earning recognition at work or with social peers. It's simply about getting all of mankind to awaken. Now, one very important thing to note is that in our current time and all throughout history, the majority of social institutions were and are still to this day closed-minded to Turquoise ideas. Partly because Turquoise is just too above most people's heads, but also because Turquoise values are a direct threat to the egotistical behaviour of most human beings on the face of this earth. And society doesn't really do a good job at offering these kinds of people good tools or incentives for them to teach other people their ideas. So if they want to help others, they've got no choice but to just take initiative and do it on their own terms, and build a community to work on solving some of these problems that were realised before at Yellow. Turquoise emerges when the physical scientific boundaries which had defined reality that you thought were undeniable at orange and at yellow now completely dissolve at turquoise. Turquoise values wisdom and the wisdom of nature and consciousness. Turquoise values holistic integration. Turquoise arrives at the realization that you are God and that you are right at the very center of all creation and existence. Turquoise values honesty, transparency, and radical authenticity. Turquoise does not act out of a need to please anyone, manipulate anyone, or present some kind of phony front or belong to a group. Turquoise values being as opposed to knowing, doing, and having. Turquoise values healing on every dimension, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual dimension. Turquoise values exploring different facets of consciousness and relying on intuition over logic. What's so amazing about the power of infinite consciousness is that you can have a direct downloads from infinite intelligence, because intelligence is linked to consciousness. And you know what else is linked to infinite consciousness? Infinite love. Turquoise is such a powerful visionary. It can see connections between everything and make breakthroughs in human understanding that the rest of mankind will not see for hundreds of more years to come. So here you see where technology is going, you can see where the human race is going, and because you're so far ahead of the curve, no one really believes you or takes you seriously. Turquoise values presence, mindfulness, and emotional mastery. It values meditation, contemplation, yoga, and self-inquiry. One key distinction between turquoise and green is that turquoise is informed by direct, non-dual experiences, whereas green holds on to all these spiritual ideas and beliefs. In fact, the same problem is with blue. Blue, like green, believes in a lot of stuff about God, but it doesn't matter if you haven't experienced that for yourself. Turquoise will always aspire to achieve global collectivism on all levels, but without encroaching on people's individuality and rights, which is so important in creating the perfect society, which is something that the lower stages cannot fathom at all. Turquoise is not emotionally triggered by injustices that happen in the world. In fact, it has such a deep understanding as to why these things all happen. At the end of the day, it all just boils down to good intentions mixed in with ignorance and ego. It's important to understand that so that you don't get upset and just react against it. Turquoise doesn't take politics so seriously like green does. It doesn't get too overly sucked into the activist mentality. Although that doesn't mean that turquoise is ignorant or oblivious to any of the problems going on in the world. Not at all. Turquoise is just more emotionally detached from them than green is. Because at this point in your growth as a person, boundaries between you, your physical body, the universe, and your enemies have completely faded away. So much to the point where nothing triggers you anymore. Turquoise knows that the two most important factors in all of human affairs are psychology and consciousness. Now onto a list of turquoise examples. Sadhguru, Thomas Campbell, Yoda, Ken Wilber, Shinzen Young, Deepak Chopra, Siddharth Grof, Osho, Eckhart Tolle, Carl Jung, Alan Watts, the Dalai Lama, holotropic breathwork, the book The Holographic Universe, Opening the Pineal Gland, occultist teachings, and from Star Trek, The Q Race. Gandhi's ideas on pluralistic harmony, transpersonal psychology as an entire field. Now, there are some downsides to turquoise, but there are not many. Here are some. A downside to turquoise can be that they are so advanced that they kind of live in their own reality, that nobody takes them seriously. They might not be the most down-to-earth people to talk to. Another downside is that if someone is early into turquoise, they can still have some unhealthy addictions left over from prior stages that could take them a long time to work through. And the last downside is that turquoise can make the crucial mistake of assuming that everybody is as equally capable of awakening as they are, when of course nothing is further from the truth. But aside from those three things, which aren't really that big a deal, turquoise people are solid perfect. Thank you all so much for watching and making it through this whole mini-series. I will have more content like this in the future. Now just remember, this is only a model and it doesn't account for absolutely everything that goes on in the human mind. It's just one of the few models that explain things in this much depth and detail. Thank you all for watching and have a terrific day.